He knows what the Huskies are called. They're called sled dogs.
Yes, they are. Their type is Malamute Husky. They come from Siberia, and they're very, very, very tough survivors. They're amazing, and they're strong. They can pull a sled 1,000 miles and then back 1,000 miles. So they're really incredible. Hi. Yeah.
When you got to the South Pole, was the Norway flag still there?
No.
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 It's gone?
Because we had a station by that time at the South Pole.
Mm-hmm.
So when we got to, which had been formed by flying in, everything had been delivered by air. And so when we got there was a small shelter hut, which was South Pole Station. And Paul Seipel, who, a very interesting story, when Richard Byrd went to the Antarctic in 1935, 36, and founded Little America, he took a Boy Scout with him named Paul Seipel as a gesture to the Boy Scouts of America. And this Paul Seipel spent part of the year down there with Byrd. Seipel went on to become a scientist and was the head of the South Pole Station, made the head of the South Pole Station, which really completed the circle. And he was the chief when we got there. Very interesting. Paul Seipel. Yeah?
What did you do with the trash?
It's a very serious problem. In fact, McMurdo Sound was cited as one of the most polluted areas in the world, and they're working very hard now to clean it up because they've been dumping raw sewage in there for 30 years, and trash as well. I mean, it's incredible because everything's in a box. Everything that goes down there goes down in a box. You unpack the box, take out the thing, and discard the box, and it's a terrible problem. Yeah.
Can you tell us about Point Ackroyd?
Yeah. Oh. Well, because of the scientific work that I did down there, the Congress selected a number of people and named geographic locations for them. And Point Ackroyd, by the way, which is where the penguin rookery is in March of the Penguins. And there are just millions and millions and millions of penguins. My God. And as many of you see that movie, it's a terrific movie.
Yeah.
And those penguins go 75 miles to the coast to get food and bring it back to the young. Can you imagine that? It's just incredible. But if you have an opportunity, if you haven't seen that movie, it's a very, very interesting movie. Yeah.
So from that point to the ocean right there,
yeah,
that's 70 miles?
Yes. Yeah. And you got to go to the ocean to get the fish to bring back to the young who are hatching out of the eggs.
Oh, so how fast do they go?
Slow. What? Yeah, you could use it. Sure.
They must go 1
Yeah.
mile. Do they go 2 inches 3 hours?
Say again?
He wants to know if they go 2 inches in 3 hours.
A little faster, but not much faster. But you know, you got to think in terms of the adaptation of an animal like a penguin to its environment, and it's perfect. Penguins can survive in a 75-mile-an-hour gale at minus 40 degrees and thrive. And they go to the edge of the glacier there, of the Antarctic continent, and they jump into the water, and they swim like a bullet, and they can stay underwater for 4 or 5 minutes, and they come up with fish, and then they can jump. What they do is they go way down in the water, and then they swim very rapidly up, and they leap out of the water, and they can leap up 10 or 15 feet. and get on back onto the ice. It's quite remarkable. Yeah.
How do you get that patch?
This was given to us by the Queen.
Okay.
When we got back from the South Pole, the Queen awarded all of us a blazer. So there you go. And yes,
Was it the Queen of England?
yes, Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth. Any other questions?
I see one in the back.
Yeah.
Is that where you got your last name?
Is that where you got your last name? No, that's where the point got its last name. The point was named for him. So instead of us getting the last name from the point got this last name from him.
Oh!
Yeah.
How do you get another name of a point?
Well, because of the Congress selected some people who had contributed to the scientific effort, and I had done some work down there and written some papers, and so they selected me, among others, to name a geographic location. Yeah.
Was it Queen Elizabeth the first or the second?
Was it Queen Elizabeth the first or the second?
Well, the first was back in Sir Walter Raleigh's time, so I guess it's the second.
Yeah, because
Yes.
that was. Were you the head leader of the team?
No, I was a follower. Sir Edmund Hillary, the man who reached Mount Everest, and Sir Vivian Fuchs, a scientist from the Polar Institute in Cambridge, were the two leaders of the expedition, and they were terrific. It's very interesting. They calculated that it would take 100 days to go from McMurdo to the South Pole, and it took us 99. Now that's very astute management. Yes.
Does it say, did you add Ackroyd Point, or did it just say that all along?
Well, Ackroyd Point was one of the places where I did my work. I was interested in the penguin rookery there because that was where a huge number of the penguins were born, raised, and died. And so it was important to study the ecology of the area to determine what was important for the survival of penguins.
I think we're to the last question, is that right?
Yeah, we have time for one more
Oh yeah,
question.
yeah, they got to go eat. Last question.
Ben, you had a question?
Yeah.
I have two. One is does Antarctica have 90% of the world's ice, counting ice rinks?
So does Antarctica have 90% of the world's ice if you count the ice rinks? The hockey rinks.
Well, I think you have to keep a sense of proportion here. The Antarctic is 1,000 miles across. Okay. Now, if you put all the ice rinks together, they wouldn't be very, very large. So the answer is that the Antarctic is huge. It's the 5th largest continent on the Earth.
So yeah, it's much bigger than all the ice rinks.
Okay.
And
Hey,
my
you had
second one
Great.
is
You got to go eat, kids. That's very important. Don't underestimate food.
Thank you guys for listening to us.
If you ever get the chance to do something like this, do it. Carpe diem. Seize the day.
So guys, maybe we'll have one day lined up. Say hi to one day, stay for a couple